Welcome to Stormin Chocolate. I'm Stormin Norman. Today's song is number 54, LA Woman, from the album of the same name by The Doors. Let me get this out of the way. The Doors are great. In my opinion, they may have been the greatest American rock band ever, and they certainly give the rest of the world's bands a run for their money for this title. Every album contains rock classics that are probably as popular today as they were in their own time. And the album, LA Woman, was their last, released 3 months before the passing of Jim Morrison on the 3rd of July, 1971. The band was molded from 4 seemingly vastly different individuals, with a classical guitarist, a jazz drummer, a keyboardist who spent much of his time playing electric piano and keyboard bass simultaneously, and a poet who had one of the greatest voices in rock and roll. We'll get into the history of the band, starting with a chance meeting between fellow UCLA alums Jim and Ray in July of 1965, when we cover the first song from their debut album, probably either Break On Through to the Other Side as the self-titled breakout song, or Light My Fire as unquestionably their first hit. The debut album consists of 11 songs, most being under 3.5 minutes, but with long songs to end each side. The aforementioned Light My Fire being an enormous 7 minutes because of the lengthy mid-song solos, and the eponymous The End, which is some 40% longer at 11.5 minutes. Personally, I like all the songs on the first side and the first and last on the second. The second, third, and fourth on side 2 sound like The Doors, but don't have the hooks that make them great. This debut peaked at number 2 in the US and 15 in Canada, and is certified quadruple platinum in the US and Canada, although the unit numbers are 10 times compared to Canada, and at least platinum in 7 other countries. Well done there for this January 1967 release. Their second effort, Strange Days, was released 9 months later in September 1967. I like all of the radio hits from the album: Strange Days, Love Me 2 Times, Moonlight Drive, People Are Strange, and When the Music's Over. And when I say radio hits, I mean those songs that are played on the radio. The song ends side 2 with another lengthy song, When the Music's Over, which vies for the label as my favorite Doors song. Another solid effort, No Suffering from the Sophomore Jinx. Peaked at number 3 in the US, certified platinum in the US and Canada, and 2 singles in the top 25. While not on par with the debut album, it had many songs that have lasted the test of time. Their third album, Waiting for the Sun, was released in July of 1968, and it may show the results of this blistering pace. Only one of its singles continues to be played on the airwaves. The first track and second single released, Hello, I Love You. The first single released, The Unknown Soldier, an obvious protest song, crept into the US top 40 and was included in their double disc greatest hits. 2 other songs, Spanish Caravan and 5 to 1, were also included on the greatest hits. 5 to 1 includes Jim's immortal lyric, No One Here Gets Out Alive, which ended up being the title of his biography by Jerry Hopkins and Danny Sugarman. There's a similar Easter egg in When the Music's Over that I'll leave until we cover that song. In the end, Waiting for the Sun hit number 1 on the album charts in the US and number 3 in Canada, and the single Hello, I Love You topped the singles chart in the US in 1968. Their fourth album, The Soft Parade, was released a year later, hit number 6 in the US, is certified platinum in the US and Canada, and spawned 4 singles. Or I should say that 4 singles were released, but only one continues to live on the airwaves today. Touch Me peaked at number 3 on Billboard's Hot 100 in early 1969, while the other 3 singles peaked between 45 and 65. Touch Me did good elsewhere, hitting number 1 in Canada, number 10 in Oz. That said, it would be the band's last top 10 hit in the US. The Soft Parade stands out as the most eclectic collection of Doors songs of their 6 studio albums, and this is exemplified by the hit Touch Me. This song sounds polished, commercial, pop even. And many of the other songs at a quick listen also have these kinds of flavors. Some have orchestral arrangements, horn solos, and mandolin. Part of this was due to the dearth of material, as the previous album, Waiting for the Sun, had effectively exhausted Jim Morrison's book of poetry, and the well was dry when it came time to enter the studio. And their record producer was driving them into the ground in his goal for perfection. And then we book a room into Morrison Hotel. It's so comfortable here as the band stepped back into their blues roots that they exhibited in their first 3 albums. And the album hit the top 10 in the US, Canada, and the Netherlands, and the top 15 in 2 other countries, on the strength of Roadhouse Blues, Waiting for the Sun, and Peace Frog. Yes, you heard right. The song Waiting for the Sun is not on the album of the same name. Similarly, the song Brain Salad Surgery from ELP is not on that album, but on Works Volume 2. But I digress. Roadhouse Blues is a powerful driving song, easily in my top 6 Doors songs. Waiting for the Sun is one of those moody Doors songs, and I think it was worth the wait to finally get it. And Peace Frog is this amazing, busy protest song describing the bloody mess the country was in at the time. Both Roadhouse and Frog will appear in this list. And finally, we get to the album and song that is LA Woman, the 6th and final studio album during Jim Morrison's lifetime. Released 14 months after Morrison Hotel, it features the singles Love Her Madly and the heavily edited Riders on the Storm, plus the non-singles LA Woman and The Wasp, aka Texas Radio and the Big Beat. While The Wasp will occasionally make it onto American airwaves, the other 3 songs are classic rock staples. So, in retrospect then, from the Doors' release in January of 1967 to LA Woman released in April of 1971, just over 4 years, we got 6 albums and 22 great songs that continue to live and breathe, a legacy to be proud of. The song LA Woman is on the long side, similar to Stairway to Heaven, at just under 8 minutes. It has a difficult structure to describe, but just looking at the lyrics shows it to be very poetic, and the group did a masterful job putting it to music. So I'll say this song has 4 parts, with the first and last parts being roughly the same. There's an early section, the second part, which expresses some thoughts at a lower volume than the first part, and after this, the song abruptly changes tempo for the third section. This turns out to be a full 40-second instrumental part in the middle, not really a guitar solo or piano solo. And then the third section's lyrics encompass the return to the song's initial fast pace. So with all that in mind, I'd say we have an A-B-C-D-A structure. And this will be the first song in the list that actually exhibits a 4th lyrical construct. So here's the first part, which on the surface looks like and sounds like a verse, a bridge, and a chorus. Until we break on through to the other side, you won't really be wrong.
Well, I dig on it down about an hour ago. Took a look around, they Are you a lucky little lady in the city of light? Or did you know the lost angel? City of night, city of night, city of night, city of night. Woo! Come on!
And then guitarist Robbie Krieger obeys Jim's commands and comes on for a 35-second guitar solo. Jim returns to tell us the name of the song and album in that misleading chorus.
LA woman, LA woman, LA woman, Sunday afternoon. LA woman, Sunday afternoon. LA woman, Sunday afternoon. Drive through your suburbs into your blues, into your blues, yeah, into your blues.
And then keyboardist Ray Manzarek does his solo on what I'm told is a Wurlitzer piano that sounds like a classic upright piano, what you might hear in a blues bar. And actually, this is one of the characteristic sounds of the song as you heard this instrument come in during the City at Night lyric. Before that, Ray's playing his customary Fender Rhodes piano that you subtly hear at the outset. And then at 3 minutes in, following Ray's solo, the beat gets changed up with a repeating rising pattern. After a couple of bars to establish itself, it remains under Jim's next set of lyrics in the second part of the song. After the first 4 lines, the rhythm kind of goes back to the original rock and blues, and we have the feeling that the song is speeding up when it's not. But it is a precursor to that effect in part 3. And the last lyric you'll hear in part 2 actually does lead to the change in tempo, from around 88 beats per minute down to 40.
I see your hair is burning. Hills are filled with fire. If they say I never loved you, you know they are a liar. Driving down your freeway, midnight alleys roam. Cops in cars, the topless bars, never saw a woman so alone, so alone, so alone, so alone. Motel money, better madness. But Jane moved from glad to sadness.
This change happens abruptly after the next bar, as you can hear in the background. There's a couple of dreamy guitars dueling in the background, and then Jim comes back to sing part 3's lyrics and take us to part 4.
Mr. Mojo rising, Mr. Mojo rising, Mr. Mojo rising, Mr. Mojo rising, got to keep on rising. Mr. Mojo rising,
Now we're at full speed again, and Jim repeats the lyrics from the first part with the faux chorus slightly modified into a bunch of LA womans. And in the end, LA was Jim's woman. Before we move on, I wanted to call out the Easter egg in part 3. Mr. Mojo Rising is an anagram of Jim Morrison. Get out your Scrabble board and see if I'm right. Most of the Doors' classic songs, those 22 I enumerated earlier, exhibit the band's instrument expertise that I talked about at the beginning of this video. John Densmore's wonderful drumming and creative rhythms from his jazz influences, Robbie Krieger's dreamy and driving guitar from his flamenco interests, Ray Manzarek's keyboards, and Jim Morrison's voice, which vies with his poetry as his greatest gift. All of this can be heard in the first minute of the song, which features a long 55-second intro as the music builds and builds from a single power chord until Jim starts singing. And if you're wondering if I made the pilgrimage, yes, I did. 2 years before Chocolate was born, my wife and I spent 3 weeks in Paris and made sure to add to our itinerary a visit to Père Lachaise Cemetery to see Jim's final resting spot. And if you're keeping track at home, yes, I also went to Oscar Wilde's plot, but I did not bother with Balzac, Bizet, Chopin, Molière, Proust, Comte, Cuvier, or Fauré, to drop a couple names. Well, that's it for the song LA Woman from the 1971 album of the same name by The Doors. This also ends our third group of songs, which started with the first 14, then the second 20, and now the third 20. It was supposed to be the third 19, so we'd end up on a prime number because nerds, but we had to split Quixote into 2 separate parts because it was so long. Anyway, we'll start the fourth group of 19, ending on number 73, with the song I am watching a lot currently, and with this bad pun. Next time, we'll peek into the eye of the storm and see who's sleeping with the enemy other than Roger Hodgson. We'll see you then. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Let me get this out of... Go back. When we cover the first song from their debut album. And the eponymous The End with... Can you change that to which? The End, which? The aforementioned Light My Fire being an enormous 7 minutes because of the lengthy mid-songs. Go back. The debut album consists of 11 songs. Their second effort, Strange Days, was released. Go back. The album ends with 2. Yeah, go back. And when an obvious protest song crept into... There's a similar Easter egg in When the Music's Over that I'll leave when we cover that song. Go back. Oh, it just sounded tense. While the Wasp will occasionally make it onto American Airwide. Well, when you have 8 minutes to fill, you God. In you blues. Oh, yeah. There's a couple of Robbie Krieger's dreamy and driving guitar from his... Robbie Krieger's dreamy and driving guitar from his... Again. From his flim flom flom. Exhibit the band's instrumental...
Oh my God.
Faces come out of the rain when you're